Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. And, but are you going to do the roll call, Aaron?
Yes, I will.
Thank
Joy Sultan,
you. Oh, I'm present.
Dan Granquist,
Present.
Dwayne Hurt. Let the record reflect Dwayne Hurt is not present. John Hendricks is actually in the redevelopment commission right now, so he's not present.
He's on. John Hendricks just came.
Just made it on.
Just made it out. All right, John Hendricks.
John,
Yes,
say
I'm here.
present.
Here. Yep.
Which is good because I don't have to do minutes now. David Augustus.
Yeah, I don't know why David's.
He emailed me notifying he would not be attending tonight. Roger Potratz.
Here.
Daphne Holt.
Here.
Amy Bowman.
Here.
Deb Parcell.
Here.
And Aaron Border, myself, present.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion for approval of the agenda, please?
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, same. Thank you.
Who was the
Yeah.
second on that? I didn't catch that, Joyce.
Roger.
Okay, thanks, Roger.
Okay, and then I hope you had a chance to read the minutes from the archives in November, but I need a motion to accept those also.
Motion to approve. Not waiting around.
All right, a second, please.
I'll second it.
All right, Roger, second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Is there any correspondence that came in?
Not at this time.
Okay. And of course, we have no committee reports. Any old business that was tabled that is going to come before us?
We
Okay.
have no old business, but we do have one certificate of appropriateness.
Yes. Okay. We're going to do the proposed, well,
Yep. 621 Franklin, application number 1. Let me share my screen.
everybody got the minutes, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
No, not Nella. No, go on. Go.
I'll call you back on the Zoom.
No.
Okay, we need the next page, I guess.
This is one page up. So the certificate of appropriateness, which the agenda should be visible on the screen. So that'll be 5A. That press out.
Everyone got the paper copies, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and Mr. Lake is on if we have any questions. Has everyone had a chance to review it?
Yep.
Okay, any questions?
Well, it only pertains to the windows, so we'll get the staff report.
Well, there were not apartments up there before, so I want to tell Mr. Lake that I used to work at Kresge Dollar Store downstairs.
That's awesome.
If you get off of that elevator and you walk clear to the front of that store, that's a long way to go. So I'd be anxious to see it when it's done. I was a little bit younger then, so. All right. We have a appropriateness report from Deb.
Right. So, like it said, we're only looking at the window portion of this. So you've got some pretty detailed drawings that were submitted, which are really good. Excuse me, but the only thing we're looking at is the installation of windows. And because there were not windows there before, we're looking at them as new construction. So there's a little more flexibility in materials and size and so forth. So that's the scope of the project. The type of windows are Anderson, double hung, dark bronze, exterior vinyl clad wood windows. The location, the style, and the color meet the historic district guidelines. These are all new window openings on the side of the building. The Anderson 200 series, the vinyl clad wood windows are not on your approved window list for like pre-approved windows, but they could be considered for this because it is a new construction installation and it's on the side of a downtown commercial building. So the staff recommendation is approval as submitted with the condition that any change to the proposed window manufacturer and or profile be staffed there. It says that Anderson windows, 200 series windows or equivalent. So I guess I would just want to be certain if there were any changes that staff were able to approve those changes.
Anybody have any questions for Deb?
Yes. There's 0 lot line for construction with the building. There could be a building right next door to this one, correct? Because I believe there was one and it burned out.
No, we're talking, well,
No, yeah.
yeah, quite a while ago. On the one side,
Right.
yes.
But if someone would come and build another building there, we'd have to have some kind of assurance that these people would be able to still have light. If the building would be 2-story adjacent to it, because if they can build right directly to the property line, then they would block any view out of the windows.
It's my understanding that we have a permanent easement along the length of the building from the redevelopment commission, because we sold the vacant lot that was abutting or you know, that was butting up to the building, that we have a permanent easement along the entire length of the building in order to do a build out such that we have proposed.
How wide is that easement, Bob?
It's roughly 17 and a half feet.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, we are going forward. We already have approval to put a concrete pad half the length of the building, and that's what we're going to do in April. So it's going to be 82 and a half feet long by 17 and a half feet wide.
And what will that pad do?
Yeah, explain that, Bob.
Well, we hope to have different vendors on that pad. We have a barbecue company or trailer, I don't know what you call it, like a food truck.
Food truck,
And we do have approval from the Board of Works to do it, and also the Redevelopment Commission. So we're moving forward with that portion in April when the weather changes, you know, and we can go to the summer concrete, I guess it is.
Do you own that lot on the very corner, Mr.?
No, I sold that lot to the Redevelopment Commission.
Oh, okay.
I think it's been 4 years ago, actually.
Well, when it all happened, probably, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be part of the, like a downtown.
Right.
Plaza.
Yeah, plaza, where there would be numerous activities going on. So that was my dog, sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, so I mean, we're pointed in the right direction, so to speak, with the
Okay, thank
project.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, may I have a motion? Motion to approve?
Vote to approve the staff report as provided there, with subject to further review by staff if there's any changes as specified
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Well, we'll let Amy have this one since you got the other ones, Roger. All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Bye.
Pose same sign. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lake, for being on. And we are dog and pet friendly, so no problem at all. So thank you very much. And you're welcome to stay if you want, or you can go eat your supper, whichever you do.
Well, I kind of ate real quickly before the meeting came up, but I do have a question.
Sure.
So does that mean I do have the certificate of appropriateness to move forward? Because my next stop is going to be the redevelopment commission to apply for grants that are available for putting in second floor apartments.
Sure.
And,
Yes.
and work on the side of the building, which would be part of it too.
Yes, you do. By us voting, you do have our approval.
Okay, great.
All right.
Do I get something then, like email?
You get an award.
What's that?
You
get an award.
Will be made, probably tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay, very good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
For all your development downtown.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, I'll bug out of the meeting. I don't know how to do it, but Amy knows I'm not really a technical wizard.
Well, you just click off, I guess.
Okay,
Harper had set me up too, Bob, so.
All right. Well, thank you.
thank
All
you.
right.
Bye, Bobby.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Okay.
I have a meeting, a question for Deb.
Mhm.
Where is the southern end of the historic district? What street determines the south end of it?
11th Street
11th Street.
Uh-huh.
on the north side of the railroad tracks.
Okay.
Which is why the train station fell within our purview
Right.
early.
This is real interesting, folks. I'll just let you in on it. I have a new client who's taking the building that used to be the Chinese restaurant across from the church.
Uh-huh.
And that same type of thing is going to be happening there, business on the first level and apartment on the second level. But it's not within the historic district, though. Is that what you're saying?
Right. No, it is, Lynn. It is.
The north of 11th, 1098.
Yeah, that's on 9th Street, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in our district.
Yeah.
I think that's 10th, yeah, 10th or 9th, yeah. Mhm.
It's on the corner of 9th and Franklin. Yes, it is in our historic district.
Okay.
And there's always been an apartment upstairs and the Chinese
Yeah,
restaurant downstairs.
But just to let you know, that building is not built very well on the inside. And so the entire building is going to be removed from the inside, and just the walls are going to remain. And then it's going to be totally redesigned in the inside.
Well, we don't have any jurisdiction in the interior design, only the appearance externally.
Right.
Right.
Aaron,
It was
Aaron?
not big. It was not built very well, and the people that bought the building want to make it a lot better than it is right now.
That'd be good.
that's good.
Great.
Aaron, could you email that to all of us so that we have the new one? Or it's not new, but that we have it fresh. This is nice the way it's laid out. I don't even have one like that.
Mhm.
So
I
if
just made it 2018 or so.
yeah, and send one to Deb too, if you could. I think everybody should have one. Thank you. Any other questions, Roger?
Thank you.
Roger, any other questions?
No. What about the building across the street from the former Chinese restaurant? It's called the Rodeo Bar for a while. Now he's going to making
No.
that into apartments. And that
That's
is in
not-
the,
That is
That's
not,
on the
that is
opposite
on
end.
the other side of 11th Street.
Yeah.
And that guy, he's there every weekend working because he knows that there's nobody from the inspection department there.
Huh.
He's there every Saturday and every Sunday. But that's
Oh.
not in our historic district.
Yeah, I would say that's not in the district though.
No. And the Moose Lodge has been sold and they will be moving out. And I don't know what this new owner for sure has in mind. I know he wants to keep the bowling alley and so on.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone got a copy of the new guidelines? I would show you, but since I'm not on, I can't. It's the one that says instructions for filing a certificate of appropriateness application before the Michigan City Historic Preservation. There it is. Oh, Aaron, you're on the ball. Did everybody get a copy of that?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was very nice. It lists all of our meetings on the back, and it shows you a copy of the actual application.
So Joyce, just for the commission to be aware, the whole thing is the application. So the planning department is in the process of updating all the applications for all the commissions.
Okay.
So this is just, I know Deb Parcell was working on an application update. Some details were omitted for this only because the guidelines in their final form aren't on the city website yet. So no one can confirm that they've actually read them because they're not up there yet. So there are some things that are not here that should be here, but the process hasn't moved along for that. So much of this language, the first paragraph here is actually specific to the Historic Preservation Commission. However, this paragraph here is relatively consistent with the other applications. And then it goes into the application checklist, when the deadline is, requiring an electronic copy in a PDF format. Staff will obviously work with anyone who doesn't have that capability. This just make it easier for obtaining the application and then sending it out. And then the next areas are from what Deb Parcell was working on with the addition of detailed customer proposal or similar. So this is meant to actually, if it's windows, this would be the actual window specifications for every single opening, at least ideally. If they're doing siding, this would be their quote, essentially. This is just to make sure that the commission's getting the proper information so that the commission can make a decision as well as Deb Parcell can make a recommendation off of the proper information, so that there isn't, as many issues that come up in the future, if there is any issues. And then there is just the additional, if you're doing new buildings, you gotta have a floor plan. There's also the commission deadline and the meeting. As our deadline's only 2 weeks, it kind of has a lot of repetitive dates. With that, and these are always subject to change, of course, whether I should have already addressed the holidays, but there's a possibility that December 26th is a holiday. But it is the regularly scheduled fourth Monday of the month. And just kind of when that deadline is, when that deadline changes based on a holiday. And then it kind of goes into, what the applicant's name information is, the owner's name and information. What do you want to do? Why are you proposing the work? And then just requiring a representative and owner signature, and then you're just confirming these details. Well, I did say earlier that there is in the application that Parcell was working on, there's a section about residential and commercial requirements. While it is mentioned in this comments about the historic district guidelines, the difference is this can be sent out, at least in their draft format, versus a revision in the future would likely actually include a link to that permanent source, or the hosted source for those guidelines. So Staff is looking for essentially two motions in one. The first is if the commission is supportive, approving of the updated application. And the second would be approving future revisions at staff level. Those will be minor in nature, such as changing the dates, also including the information that was omitted in the application that Parcell was working on. And just to confirm, Deb, the application that you were working on, did the commission see that beforehand?
This proposal, you mean?
I am not sure that they did, actually.
Okay.
Not the application itself.
No.
All right. So Deb Parcell was working on an application that included some additional things, which are omitted here, as I mentioned, because those sources aren't available permanently online yet. So we can't ask someone to confirm the residential standards until they're permanently hosted. And if they're in draft format, we can send it out, but until there's a permanent source. So just essentially approving the application with any revisions that the commission deems necessary, as well as approving minor revisions. So that won't change, that won't create additional hurdles. It's just asking for either additional clarification or asking for additional confirmation of what's already built into the application. Deb, would you like to add anything?
Pardon me?
Deb, would you like to add anything?
No. I think, this pretty much follows what we drafted up. I guess to back up several years, when we first started talking about guidelines and redoing that, we're looking at a complete package that would include a new COA application, new staff report format, which we've been playing with for the last year. And to be honest, I haven't been too happy with that. So that's why you haven't seen it recently. Not sure where that's going, but I think this application is really good. It incorporates most everything that we did have in our original draft. It just kind of cleans it up, makes the requirements really clear of the information that we want. So hopefully it's going to save a lot of phone calls to contractors and owners because they give such limited information. This is really being very specific about what we'd like to have. So I think it'll make the job easier of looking at the project, understanding it, being able to write a report, and for you guys as well to understand the scope of the project and what the materials are and why they feel they need to do what they want to do. So I think it's a really good application.
That's great news.
Joyce, just wanted to add for the rest of the commission that Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission are going through similar updates right now. So the goal is to have the applications, Board of Zoning Appeals and Planning Commission will be drastically longer. That they are very similar. So that will obviously help with property owners who require multiple commissions for their approvals, but also will really help with that so that hopefully, there's a lot less question asking and some of this, if they do Historic Preservation Commission first, then a lot of that information is already gathered and they can incorporate that into their next application submittal.
Okay. Well, I think anything to make everyone's job a little bit easier so that everybody's on the same page really makes more sense. So thank you both for working on this. We appreciate that.
Got a couple thoughts and suggestions.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Dan.
The first page, the instructions there go right into the requirements and obligations and responsibilities. I would suggest, just as a kind of a courtesy or a background, is that we take some language from the ordinance and put just 2 sentences or so, short paragraph at the beginning explaining what the Historic Preservation Commission is. We're concerned with the elements of development and so forth that affect the visual quality in a historic district. And the regulations are intended to preserve and protect the historic, architecturally worthy buildings and so forth. So if we have this kind of background, overall purpose here, then maybe it makes more sense over some of the regulations and requirements and obligations.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Can you write that down and send it in to Aaron and to Deb? So they
Yes,
have, thank you, Dan. Thank you.
I have something written already that I'll email out to you.
Okay.
And secondly, as we've talked before, one of our concerns is the deadline feature in the ordinance that we have to act on it within 30 days. So up in the page 3 there on the application, you have a blank for the date. But I suggest that we clarify that date so it's not say just simply any old date or a date of application, but the statutory or the ordinance language is within 30 days after it is filed. Now, we can't change the ordinance ourselves, but we should specify somewhere either that line or another line, if it's different, the filing date, so that something is stamped or entered, so we have the actual legal filing date, if you will. So that starts the clock ticking, so that we know that we have to act within 30 days of that filing date. Whether that's the date that it's mailed, because they might write a date in there when they're preparing this and drop it off or bring it in a week later. So we have to clarify when the filing date is, whether it's the date stamped by the office or whatever that will be.
Yeah, it should be the date that it's received by the office, a complete application too, which is crucial because sometimes people submit applications, but they're missing information and we don't consider it a complete application.
So there should be a
until
separate
we have
box.
all the information that we need.
There should be a separate box or line or something there indicating a filing date of completed application or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so the date will just be removed entirely, and then in its current idea, which is the actual applicant writing it, and then that will just be a labeled filing date assigned by staff then.
That sounds
I have a question on, if we have the property address, do we also need what's called the parcel ID?
It's best practice to include both.
Where do we find the parcel ID number?
Well,
Beacon or the property owner.
that's on Beacon. They should have a copy of the deed to the property if they own it. There's many ways to get that.
Okay,
And if someone does not include a parcel ID or the historic district, it doesn't make the application incomplete. Because that is simple information that can be completed. It's more ensuring that the application in an ideal world can be as complete as possible.
But then staff or someone in the planning office would have to determine completeness. So once it is complete, there's the box say filing date of completed application or something to that effect.
Well, I believe filing date would do it because an application wouldn't be filed until it's complete.
But if that's the process in the office that they would look at it, as long as they don't just take it and stamp a filing date on it before they verify that it is complete. Just whatever the process is in the office.
I understand, and I will work with the new associate planner when one is hired, as well as the administrative assistants to ensure that there isn't anything just being stamped until it's been reviewed.
good. Okay. Anyone else have any other questions or suggestions? Well, since we have no public, I guess we don't have to have public comment. Does anybody have anything for the good of the commission? All right, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Joyce, can we have a motion to approve the application?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Having
Yeah. Can we have a motion to approve what we have reviewed just now? I'm sorry.
I motion that we approve what we reviewed. I support the revisions of the COA.
Okay, and a second, please.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay. I don't know who the one person was, but
Roser.
okay. All right. Whatever John puts down, that's what it is. All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, it's passed. Thank you. Thank you for that, Aaron. I appreciate that. Any other comments or questions that need to come before us?
yes, I didn't observe it carefully on the agenda, but since this is a new year, maybe we should next meeting schedule election of officers.
Amen.
Yes, so I did consider that after the fact. However, I think it would be better if we waited until everyone was present,
Yes.
or at least attempt for everyone to be present.
A great idea, because usually David is usually always on. And today I did not think to call Dwayne. Usually if I call him, he's on, but I was so busy. I'm sorry I did not. So
Well, let's
Yes.
put it on the agenda for next month.
yes,
Will do.
please. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Dan. Any other that should come be put on our agenda for next month? No? Well, if you think of something, get it to Aaron, and I know he will put it on unless it's something that we just can't deal with. But I can't see why we can't, because I'm afraid if things don't change, we'll be having another Zoom meeting next month. But
Can I ask a question?
sure.
So I've called, I called the city and tried to get somewhere. With me being on the 600 block of Franklin Street, I see every week at least one person travel the wrong direction. Yesterday, I almost got hit, which really scared me because I couldn't believe it. But I don't know if there's any, I know we don't have a budget. I know we don't have any money or anything, but is there anybody like we can get to maybe expedite some, like I talked to Don Prisbalinski, and he told me that the city couldn't even afford to get paint last year. Like there was no paint available. So
I understand that, but this morning the mayor was on the radio, and he has the police department monitoring from 4th to 9th to see if the signage needs to be improved, if coming off of the side streets. So they are working on it, and he's working on it through the police department. So
yeah, because I was wondering if, like, we're the historic district, so I was wondering if there was any kind of, like, it would be really great to have some, I don't know, I just feel like it's very boring. Like, there are no lines at all on Franklin, pretty much, in so many different spots. So many streets are missing, line, whatever the word is I'm looking for, the paint or the, what's the word? I mean, you can't differentiate between the lanes, and see which way is going which way. And it would just be neat if we could do something really cool to let people know that it's a one way instead of it just being outside outline.
They are working on that. And about the paint, I questioned that about 6 months ago, because in front of our building, it is painted yellow, but it's faded. And I asked them, and he said they have not been able to get yellow paint for 1.5 years.
That just blows my mind. Why can't we just go to Sherwin-Williams and get some paint?
Because the other has something in it, so if it's plowed or whatever, it holds up better.
Okay.
So,
Got it.
but Yeah, but, so that's the truth, but they are working on Franklin, because when I went to the bank the other day, there was a car going the other way and you honk at him and he waved because he thought.
Yeah, it's terrible. I
Yeah.
mean, every day I go out and, I mean, I've had a business down there for 6 years and I've watched it for 6 years and I just can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Well, it's
just-
worse than it
you're gonna
was.
get hurt.
Yeah.
It was around Christmas when it was just crazy. I've never seen that many people go the wrong way. But the straw that broke the camel's back was watching Marquee Electric, which I know is a local company, blatantly come down the wrong way and just.
Oh, wow.
I just got really upset, and so I just started calling, and I called the street department and got nowhere, and I had to call a couple different places, and then finally, the clerk's office told me to call Don Prisbalinski. So I did, and I guess he went to the Board of Work, or he zoomed in on the Board of Works meeting, and he might have said a few things. I don't know, because I had surgery on my foot, so I was at the doctor that day, so I didn't get to hear it. But thank you, Joyce, for telling me that there was
Well,
obviously
we can keep on that. Maybe we'll just put that on our agenda next time, just for an update, so we all are on the same page. So
Okay.
thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
Anybody?
And one more
Okay.
information.
Yes.
The ordinance is provided the Historic Preservation Commission shall consist of 9 voting members. We've only got 8,
Right.
so.
The mayor is supposedly working on that, Dan. I've called him 3 times now, so
Okay,
I don't get to talk to him. I talk to Chris, but
sure.
Chris says he's working on it, so we'll keep on it. But yeah, it makes it hard when you're supposed to have 9 and you don't. So
If you need a quorum, it's a little more challenging.
absolutely.
Okay, thank you all. Happy New Year, everybody.
All right. Anything else? The meeting adjourned then. Thank you.
Bye. Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye, Lon.
Bye.
Happy snowy January.